going on, guys? Welcome to the Just Work podcast. Here today we have episode number 8. We're going to talk about minimalism, or doing things with less, you could say. I'm your host, Charles.
I'm your co-host, Richard.
There you go. And then we'll just jump right in as usual.
Yes, sir.
So first we got to start off with the definition of minimalism, which is essentially just the idea of which you use less.
Yeah. I think it's just having just enough to get by, right? And I feel like with us, like, being in a society where consumerism is really a thing, and like we're all guilty of this too, right? But consumerism, like, do we really need 10 different, scents of bleach?
I got one scent of bleach.
I mean, at the end of the day, bleach is fucking bleach, right? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Do we really need all 10? It's just at the end of the day, bleach is just there to clean stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And we don't need lavender. Okay, maybe we need lavender, but
wow, this guy.
Yeah, it's getting to me, guys. No, but you get my point, though, right? Like, where it's like we don't really need all this stuff, and I think that, and it kind of shows, like, do we need like these really, really big houses? Do we really need like these really big fancy cars, nice big fancy cars? Now, granted, some of us do need big houses, obviously, because we have to house big families. Yeah. But it's just kind of, with everything being so expensive nowadays, it's like getting just what you need versus like wanting, like needs versus wants. That's essentially what it is.
What's really worth it in a sense.
Yeah,
it's kind of what it's going at.
Yeah.
So I guess I would put it as like just. I think I am probably a minimalist to be like exact. I mean, I basically kind of just float under what I need and that's it. Mm-hmm. But that's because I like to save.
Right.
But I guess the car, like my car, I didn't need that.
Yeah.
But I bought it out of.
Wait, which car? The truck or the the one that you have right now?
The Mitsubishi. I could have definitely got like something that was way less expensive.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Okay.
But I saw a deal, and I went for it.
You got a really good deal on that car, though.
Yeah,
like
I did.
What was it? Under 3% on the finance, right?
Yeah, it's a 2.7% APR, and then it was only $17,000. I put down $2,500.
Okay, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
$5, yeah. We're still paying off 8 more years. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that bad of a deal, but I mean, I could have got something less and saved up, and I wouldn't have that bill that I have now. It's $300 plus insurance for a new car. I mean, it was a lot different.
Right.
Because I had 2 cars, and I only paid like $67 for insurance because it was only PLPDs type stuff. So just if I hit something, there's a problem.
Right.
So there's always like just little choices like you could choose to be either less or more. The TV I just bought, I didn't need that either. I already had one when I was like, screw it, I want a bigger TV.
Right.
There's just choices of which, like, I get why we would decide that we need less, but I also understand the other side of like, I like nice things.
Of course. I mean,
and I feel like we all do that, like,
of course,
back and forth.
And I feel like, obviously, there's a fine line between, and we're not saying consumerism is bad. I mean, that's our society, that's what it is, and we're all, like I said, we all play a hand in it. It's just human nature, like, to want more and better, bigger, faster, stronger, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like to the point where it's like you need. What I'm trying to say though is like, there's a fine line between overdoing it and then kind of finding out like what's, because like for you though, right? So the value of the TV, right? You could have gotten, or you could have kept the one that you had right now, but for you though, it's like, I'm spending my time because this one helps me relax because I work a lot or whatever. I spend a lot of time, and this is something that I can enjoy my downtime, and I can spend that with Katie or with all my other roommates, and we can sit and chill out.
Yeah.
And that's what you value, and there's nothing wrong with that, because like to you, you see the value in that, therefore that's why you get it. You didn't get it because, you know what, when people come over once a month or once every 3 months, I'm gonna flex that I have a big ass TV, there's a difference.
It's sitting on 2x4, so it sits on the mantle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there's a difference between the two, and I feel like that's what I'm trying to get at though, is that there's a difference between wanting shit because you generally enjoy it and not overdoing it, and then versus like just straight up flexing. People who get like really nice cars and everything just because like, I want to show off. Like I want to show off my net worth, even though I'm going into a mountain of debt. I can barely afford this, but I'm gonna use this to flex. Versus no, I like the Beamer or I like the Audi or I like the Ferrari because I'm a car enthusiast. I love this car. This brings me happiness.
Yeah.
From within. That's different.
And not just to take it to show off.
Exactly.
And then talk about like essentialism as well, which is just the needs of what you have.
Right.
So in a sense, we basically only really need fucking some rice, and some chicken.
Wait.
Rice is the cheapest food. More bang for your buck. End of story.
Beans and rice.
Beans and rice. You go to the store, you go buy it, man, you get like a 20-pound bag for like $10.
Dude, that's honestly...
That'll feed you for like a couple, like months. Unless you're Brian Shaw, it'll feed you for a week.
Dude,
but I'm not Brian.
Dude, no. When I moved out of my parents' place and moved into my apartment, the first semester of grad school, I got like a 50, 20, whatever, big ass pound of rice. I just finished that bag like about a month ago.
It's huge.
It's huge, and I eat a lot too. You know, so no, and I think with essentialism, that's what I consider myself more. And I think, and I could be wrong with the definition, but like the way I see essentialism is it's a branch of minimalism, because minimalism is like I sleep with nothing but like a blanket over an empty apartment, and this is all I need. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what the minimalism thing. But I think I'm more
pillows as my bed.
Maybe, just maybe. Do you really need pillows though? No. For me though, I think more of essentialism. That's what I consider myself is like getting stuff that would just make quality of life easier and better. But
like
then,
a need to have at this point.
Yeah, it's like
a phone.
It's like a phone. Yeah, exactly. And then like the thing is like quality versus quantity in a sense too as well. You know what I mean? Do I need the latest and greatest iPhone every 2 years? Probably not. I could probably get the latest and greatest one generation and maybe hold it for like a couple because I know there's no need for me to upgrade it. You know? Like for me, like another example I like to draw is like I like to build computers and shit like that, right? And because the world of technology, everything upgrades every 2 years. You know, new generation, new refresh every new year. Now, if I drop $2,000 and build the latest and greatest, my ideology, my thought process behind spending $2,000 is I can keep this between 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm. If it's $10,000.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, I'm not looking at the initial price tag of, oh shit, it's $2,000. It's $2,000 spread across 5 or 8, 10, whatever, how long I'm keeping it. I plan on keeping it, and I plan on keeping it long term. You know, yes, I'm spending a lot of money up front, but I think this is what I kind of want and need, and this is what I'm planning on keeping it for the long term, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I consider myself more of an essentialist than a minimalist. Minimalist is a little too much for me. It's too minimal.
It's too minimal?
It's too minimal. It's really too minimal.
I feel like that's how I am with buying things, though. At least, like, when I go out, it's definitely like there's a list of what you need. We can't go past that. Mm-hmm. Unless it's actually, like, not going to hurt me financially.
Yeah.
Which right now, currently not. So that's where that came out of. But I don't know. But I've also blown a lot of money on stuff and then just given it away. So it's easy for me to like give up that money ain't worth much. It's worth time. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if I gamble the amount of times I just wasted it, then there's a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So and then like talk about like quality versus like quantity of like what you're gonna get. Like kind of. If I were to buy, like, I have an iPhone 10, like, I'm not going to replace this phone for a couple of years at least. Mm-hmm. Like...
You're not going to get the 11 next year,
Yeah, I'm not going to get the 11.
Yeah.
But I see it as a waste of money to go out and just go buy the next one when you only had what you had for, like, a year. Like, I still don't know half the thing this thing does. Like, I learned, like, 2 months ago that thing can scan documents from a picture and then print them.
Oh, like the QR code?
No, the phone can go, it goes into notes and it can scan documents, like legal ones, make it, like, not a picture, but make it an actual, like, typed page.
Oh, shit.
And, like, print it.
Shit, I didn't even know that.
See? But that's what I'm saying. If you just keep upgrading, you're going to be so lost on what your phone actually does.
Yeah.
Or what you upgraded on actually does. Mm-hmm. Like, cars and stuff.
Right. And it's funny too because that's just an iPhone. Imagine if you had like a Samsung or like an Android where you could do like 10 times more, right? You'd be really lost.
Yeah, but that's my thing. It's just if I'm gonna go out and spend like that amount of money on stuff, then I know I'm gonna end up keeping that for a long period of time until it breaks.
Until it breaks.
Until it's done.
Right.
Because it's a big investment.
Right.
That I could have went with something lower, but I mean I don't like to switch up and get the newest latest thing because I'm not keeping up with nobody. I don't care.
We don't keep up with the Jones, and it's like this idea like we're always constantly in competition with like other people, whether if you do it consciously or subconsciously, right? Like because you're like
or judgment, like going outside and be like, wow, they have a nice car, like who's this person?
Yeah, who's this person? Or what am I?
Look at this 4Runner, damn, that's cool, huh?
And I feel like guys, I feel like we hella do. I feel like I know I've done this too. So like you know how, like when you meet a guy or whatever, right? And you kind of like. when you meet them for the first time, you kind of size them up by like, well, their physical appearance, like what their tall stature, short stature, if they're like buff or not, and then their success, you know. And it's like I feel like that's just like an innate kind of thing that we kind of like go through at first, and it's a bad habit, and I feel like a lot of guys we do that, you know, like
right off the book, you know,
right off the book, and that's the kind of level of respect I'm going to give you based off from like XYZ.
What I've seen so far.
What I've seen,
which is not a damn thing, but
right. And it's a bad thing, and it's unfortunate that happens, but
just the way we think.
It's just the way we think.
And then I kind of want to like, I feel like, it's hard to reap the benefits of like not being a minimalist as we're in our 20s or teens, because this is like an opportune time where you actually have the ability to save up a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because by the time most of us are like 30 or in our 40s, not normal, I mean, it's up to you, your timeline of like getting a home and like kids and stuff like that, but that's when your money gets pinched. So the saving that you did between 15 to 28, 30, whenever you expect or want to do that, is like worthwhile, because if you're just blowing all the cash all the time, then by the time you get there, you won't have anything. And then you'll keep just getting put back. You'll never you'll never like get out of debt, basically. You'll always be putting yourself behind. So I guess that's my big thing.
Yeah.
Because every month there's always something going into a savings account.
Right.
To put me in a better spot for tomorrow, because then I can get to a point where I can buy a property, maybe two, and then have one pay for the other.
Right. You're allocating money into assets, stuff that would kind of bring you value in the long term. I mean, we're not saying that like, you know, you need to put everything into your savings, but I feel like just the habit of just saving, even if it's like $50, it's not the amount, it's not the quantity that matters, but it's not the quantitative, it's the qualitative, meaning like it's just the act of saving, putting money aside, paying yourself first, and putting that money aside. Because I know that we do get that pressure of like, especially us younger generations, like by 30 you have to own a house, by 35 you need to own a house, be married, and probably start looking to have kids, or already have kids by then. And again, it's like keeping up with the Joneses. You don't need to follow that timeline like everyone else. Everyone's on their own path and their own journey.
Yeah. Like I feel like I've never actually like played like to live up to like what I'm trying to spend. I've always thought I was behind already. Like even if I was making good money, I've always thought like you're still behind. But I feel like there is a lot of like getting caught in the idea that, oh, I went from a 40K salary to a 60K, and now I have to live like I have that salary.
80K salary.
Or 60 to 80, and then you'll never, like, if you put it this way, and you go from, I have a 20K salary a year, which ain't shit for a single, but I mean, you can live off of it, trust me. And then you go to 40. If you just keep moving up that ladder, then you're at 60, and then you're 80 and 100, and you keep living that way. Imagine what you'd be like if you kept living like you had 20, and then you got to 100. Like the amount of savings, the amount of money that would be able to make you money at that point would put you tenfold higher in the future.
Right.
So it's just playing the game smarter. And in your 20s, in your 20s, no one expects you to have shit.
Right.
Like, it's pretty gamble that if you're in your 20s, it's like, you don't have anything.
Right.
Like the fact that you own a car is like, that's good for you, shit, because
you can afford rent.
Yeah, you're in your 20s. I mean, you're not supposed to be having things in your 20s.
Right.
Like, don't be comparing yourself to the 1% of 20-year-olds that got big and shit and like they make good money, but mostly in society, 20-year-olds to fucking 29, 30, they don't have anything to show for themselves.
Right.
But if you do play that game smart and you go from 20 to a 40K salary and you still live like you only make 20K, it's a big difference in how far you'll make it later on.
Right.
That's how I play it. I'm still at 20K, but I'm just like finding ways to actually put money in savings and keep it there, because later on, like if you do the whole like compound interest stuff, when you put stuff in when you're 20 compared to when you're 30, it's either like you have $500,000 at the end or you have $1 million. I mean, it's a giant jump of that 10 years.
Right.
Because of compound interest and stuff like that. If you were to open up like accounts and stocks and stuff like that, but even real estate, if you hold real estate for a lot longer, real estate goes down sometimes, but it's always going up. Same with stocks.
Right.
that's kind of like the big way I see it, like why I need to like be penny pinching and shit, because may not have nothing now, but no one does, so why not just have nothing still, fucking put a lot away.
Right, and trying to build, basically you're trying to build that foundation.
Build a foundation to actually work from, and not just blow it all on fucking Friday and Saturday nights drinking fucking fiascos and be like, I don't know what happened.
Right.
Life's out to get me, fuck.
Yeah, and then, you have 30. And that's the thing, though, too. We're not saying to not do those things. I mean, like, we all have different ways. Like, we all have our things where we, like to spend money on, right? Like,
I mean, mine's the movies. Like, I'll just fucking blow it on. Fuck. I'm just like, entertainment.
Entertainment, yeah. And for some people, it's going out with friends and socializing. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, do you need to do that every weekend? Maybe even dial back. It's still a lot in my opinion, but like 3 times a week instead of 4 times a week, or once a month or twice a month instead of like every weekend.
It's just like, if you can go to like Dutch Bros or Starbucks every day and get one of them fucking coffees for $8, like that's expensive. And then you complain about how much money you don't have, like that's a lot of expenses going towards like going out to fast food and like little restaurants, banks, smoothies, like they're expensive when you add them all up at the end of the month, and that's money you could have had in your pocket. That you could have allocated to something else that's more useful.
Right. And I'm not gonna try to preach and be like, well, if you stop buying lattes and stuff, you're gonna be a millionaire by 30. No, but it's not the actual act itself, but it's the principle of knowing how to budget, and that's why it's important to have a budget. I'm not saying have an intricate system or anything. I use Mint, not sponsored. I use Mint, and basically it's a really simple way. I don't think it's that even effective, in my opinion, rather than if you have your own Excel sheet and you do it yourself. I think that's the best way to go, but I'm a lazy fuck when it comes to this shit. I mean, as long as I track my spending, because I track my expenses every day. Like every day, maybe actually multiple times a day, even though I don't even spend anything, but I just check it for the sake of just checking it. And I think having some sort of tracking device, like tracking your macros or whatever as it may be, it's always important to keep track of things like that, especially finances, because finances are so important. It's an integral part of our lives. Money is not. Yeah. A lot of people got it twisted.
We all have bills.
A lot of people got it twisted when they think they put money either too much on the pedestal or too low on the totem pole, where they're like, money is the root of all evil. Money is my gateway to happiness. Money is fucking neutral. Money is my tool to make an impact, to achieve what I need to accomplish what I need to accomplish. It's a tool. It's nothing. Yeah. It's neutral. That's what it is. And I feel like it's just, people just put it way too high or way too low.
And it becomes a problem later on down the road. Yeah, so I guess that's how, like, we've been talking a while about like playing it kind of pretty hard right now, and like right now I'm buying sports cards up because I know when NBA comes back, there'll be like a bit more money than what I purchased them for, because NBA is like every single time sports cards, when it goes into the off season, they go down, and as soon as it picks back up, they go back up. So
it's like fucking stocks.
It's like fucking stocks. So the smart thing is, even if they're up during the down period, buy when they're down, and then wait till the next season to watch them all go up, and then sell them then.
So you're saying buy low, sell high.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Really?
Exactly. Oh wow, that's a genius idea. No, but I just like
I get what you're
caught
saying.
On, and like that's what. Yeah. But I've put in like I think close to $400 in that arena already.
Yeah, and you're seeing that,
and then I'm just gonna use them as leverage and be like, these aren't things. This is money. I have to sell it back. But then if I double that up, then it's gonna be a big win for me.
Right.
And then I know that's an actual route to do stuff like that. Yeah. But just little chances you got to take like that too. For like, those are the things I'm willing to like put in actual money on. Stocks is very much like, you have to watch everything. You have to know about the stock. Unless it's a Roth IRA and mutual funds, stuff like that, then you don't, like SP 500, you don't really have to watch that, but over time it'll go up. But that's more like a now thing. Right. It's kind of like the sneaker kids who like bought all those sneakers pre-sale. Dude. Sales came out and they sold them all like for hell or more. Yeah. It's the same game there. It's the money now instead of 10, 15 years down the road.
I heard a lot of kids like making 6-figure salaries just off from sneaker selling. And it's funny too, because it's so unorthodox in a sense. If you think about it, right? Because it's like, oh, what do you do for a living? How did you make your 6-figure? I sold sneakers. But
like, sneakers are like culture, man.
It's a culture, no. And I think that brings up a good point. And along with any investment, any type of thing, always do your fucking research. Like for an example, right? When you talked about the sports cards and you're like, oh, this is what you should look. You should. I'm just because your Giannis card you bought for $250, now it's going up to $350. Obviously, that's a dope thing to see. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm not gonna jump. I mean, I might consider jumping on it because I see the gains. But the thing is, I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna look into it, research about it, and understand it because
you know what realm you're gonna walk into. You can't just go in blind to anything.
Well, yeah, like imagine if you go into a car, if you go to a car dealership, you know what the MSRP of the thing is. They're gonna be like, oh, this is a good deal. You're gonna think it's a fucking good deal. Next thing you know, it's $5,000 over the MSRP. And I'm not a business person or anything like that, but it's just basic common sense to know what you're buying into, right?
Know the field and what you're trying to pursue money in.
Right, like that's why you just gotta kind of sort of stay in your lane in a sense, because like I'm not a finance guy. Although personal finance is a major hobby interest of mine, right? But knowing about the stocks, looking at the spreadsheets, looking at their dividends, how much dividends are they investing or giving back, all that stuff. It's very complicated. And that's something that I'm learning right now, but because I don't understand the full spreadsheet, looking at the whole report, I'm investing in like ETFs and mutual funds such as like VU or VTSAX or whatever Fidelity's equivalent to VTSAX is because nice. Whoops. Because what that does is it invests into the total market where it's very diverse. I'm investing in the whole total cap, like the whole S&P 500, if not more. So if a company bellies up, or multiple companies belly up, I'm safe in a sense. Yeah. But because of that, though, because I'm so risk adverse, my gains aren't that as astronomical because I'm not taking as much risk. The more risk you take, the more money you should expect in return.
Yeah.
But that means that the more money you lose.
Potentially lose. Yeah. I mean, I'm young, so I'm just like, fuck it, I got time to make mistakes. So that's why I know you can kind of gamble that game a little bit and see what happens. But I feel pretty strongly it'll go the way I need it to, but I'm also, when I purchased them, I knew this could be a complete waste of money. Like, I already given up the fact that maybe there's no money involved in it at all.
Mm-hmm. That's a risk.
So I detached myself from the actual buying of it and just be like, it could make you money, it could not. So be okay with both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, and
we've talked about this before.
We have, and I feel
be okay with both sides.
Yeah, and the thing is, you need to, when you come to investments and stuff like that, you have to, and that's why I have that problem too. That's why I don't do individual stocks right now, because I'm so emotionally attached to my money, and that's something that you, as an investor, you need to think more logically and not emotionally.
Yeah.
Because it's money. At the end of the day, it's numbers, and whatever they're going to go by the spreadsheet and how everything goes.
Yep.
And the thing is, the key is to not be so risk adverse all the time, but just, if you're going to take a risk, make sure it's asymmetrical. What I mean by that is that make sure that the odds are like 95% in your favor. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, don't take crazy ass risks.
Yeah.
I guess you can't even say like the guys who were on Netflix and Uber and that shit. That was still very much like, if you knew that target, you knew that it would definitely go towards convenience, it was still 95% in your favor.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the best thing to invest in right now would be anything that has to do with, that makes it more convenient for any type of field.
Right.
Because we've already seen
automation.
that everything is going towards faster, quicker, less work on humans' part. I mean, that's why Amazon's so big, because they're the quickest at shipping, they're the quickest at buying, the website's more convenient, and it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, yeah.
It's worldwide, so that makes it, everything's going to move into convenience.
Right.
Instead of like old time, like, oh, I want to do stuff on my own. That's not how it's going to go.
No. It's all about delegation and immediate gratification. And if you know how human nature works, I mean, how the human psyche, how the psychology of things, I mean, I feel like the consumer psychology, I should say, you're pretty much set.
Yeah.
And like you said, you pretty much nailed it. I think automation and immediate gratification is the main thing. And I mean, going off tangent, I guess when we're talking about investments, like for me, for example, I think Bitcoin, if I had the extra money lying around, like if I was like six figures,
it's hell of money now.
I would maybe invest, but right now though, as a person who's making not that much money, it's not worth the risk for me, because granted, I could invest 5, 10. How much is Bitcoin now? Like 9,000, 10,000 ish or so, right?
$10,000.
10,000
for one.
For one. Granted, the thing is though, it could be, if we switch currency to Bitcoin or something, cryptocurrency, it most likely will be Bitcoin. That $10,000 investment can turn into hundreds of thousands, or if not maybe even $1 million or plus.
Yeah.
But the thing is though, right now I can't afford to give up $10,000. I'm not gonna over leverage and like overextend myself.
If you give up 10,000, you're fucking a bum now on the streets.
Yeah, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it for me, even though everyone's riding on that Bitcoin hype, you know. And for me, it's just again understanding, knowing your situation, assessing the situation, your situation, and seeing how much risk how much tolerance you have for your risk.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's all things to think about. And then like kind of to end it off, it's much easier to not buy as much stupid shit and get through life a little bit easier. Just be grateful about what you already have.
Yeah.
Just waking up and being like thankful that there's a roof on your fucking head. Granted, if there's not, I see where it's coming from, okay? I get that, alright? That fucking blows.
Yeah.
Work hard. Mm-hmm. But be grateful that there's a roof over your head, you slept in a bed, there was AC, there was water, things that are basic natures of need. Those, like, without those, life would be so much harder. And knowing that a good percentage of the world population actually doesn't have those things.
Right.
So being in America in 2020 is like, be grateful for that alone.
Right.
Because this is a first world country and we bitch about stupid shit that doesn't matter in other places.
Right.
We bitch about a light bill when other countries are like 70% of the people don't even have a light. They don't have one piece of electricity.
Right.
So that makes it a lot easier to go through life and not buy dumb shit because...
Latest and greatest iPhone.
Yeah. It's like, really?
And
like the vast majority of people don't even have the ability to obtain what this is, and we're over here bitching about it.
It's the entitlement, man.
Yeah,
and I think you brought up a good point though with like the power of gratitude, you know, and when you're able to start your day off with like just kind of thinking stuff like that, I think you change, you shift your perspective a lot on how you start your day, right? Rather than imagine if you start your day like, fuck this, fuck my life, I have so much shit to worry about, versus I'm gonna start my day off, wow, thank you, that I'm so thankful that I have this.
I feel like I woke up today, shit, I could have died.
Yeah.
Time to sleep.
And I think that if you're able to trick your mind into kind of thinking like that, it's a very cognitive behavioral approach though, but it's like, you know, if you're able to kind of shift your mindset to something more positive in a sense, I'm not saying block out the negative, but if you're able to shift to that more positive mindset, I think that you will produce more positive outcomes in a sense, or you will be on the lookout for more of that.
Yeah. It all depends on where you're looking. You'll find what you're looking for. You want negative shit, you'll find it. You want positive shit, you'll find it. Trust me.
Well said.
And then I guess if we want to relate this towards lifting, Louis Simmons already said this shit. Don't have $100 shoes and a 10-cent squat. If you're not ready for fucking lifting gear and you can get in fine without it and you're not in pain and you don't need it, don't buy it. It's not really that great. If you could get away with buying strong knee sleeves, which are like $60, and not SBD knee sleeves, which is like $100 or something bucks, because I don't know what the fuck's happening, but they think these neoprenes are very expensive to make. I guarantee you a knee sleeve costs like less than $1 to produce. Mm-hmm. Put a fucking logo on it, who cares? Same with elbow shit, same with wrist wraps. You don't need top of the line stuff. Like basic shit's gonna get you through. When I first started squatting, I used Ace bandage fucking wraps from Walmart, which each were like $3. Yeah. And they were like knee braces. That's what I used for like months on end.
Yeah.
Get good before you decide that you need extra shit.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, we get caught up with like a lot of the hype beast of powerlifting or lifting in general.
I gotta fucking show off my knee sleeves today.
Yeah.
Or then like people fucking buying like a size down just to get another pair and shit. Like there's so many people that have like 2 sets of knee sleeves because they're like, oh, I need these ones to fit way tighter. Like,
yeah. I need this one for training.
I just don't agree with fucking wasting 15 minutes of my time trying to put knee sleeves on when I'm trying to work out. Like,
yeah,
that seems dumb to me. Like, maybe I should just be stronger.
And I think
maybe I should just work on getting stronger. Like,
just work.
Yeah. Alright, what's going on, guys? Back from the little commercial break right there. Sponsored you to by Nestle Pure Water Life. Yeah, exactly.
Get your hydration on.
And Vizio TVs.
Code down below, just work 10. That doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, but it'll be there one day. Maybe.
Maybe. Probably not, but you know, one can dream.
Yeah, but I mean, we just kind of finished off talking about like just the waste of like carrying us on equipment that is just not necessary in which being strong. And give or take, we both have this type of gear, but
we put in the time.
I mean, I've been powerlifting for like maybe 2.5 years now, close to 3. For the first year, I didn't fucking buy anything. It was, especially like for bench. I benched like 365 with like nothing before I ever like got stuff and put a belt on or put wrist wraps on for bench. Like,
Jesus.
like I mean, it's just something like the body is fundamentally able to handle weights up into like 500 pounds with actual little to no support. I mean, that's showcased through all weights, boys and girls, all ages. Like, that's been showcased that it can do that. Now, where protective gear or equipment comes in is when you know you'll be benching 3 times a week, squatting twice a week, deadlifting every week. I mean, that's going to take toll on the body, and supportive gear is not a bad idea to have. But build a strong foundation is what I'm trying to say, and like actually make it a worthwhile investment. Like actually be into powerlifting before you decide, because anything outside of that, you really don't need that type of equipment to do stuff. It's just a luxury of what you can afford. Now, if your mom buys you that shit, go for it, I guess, but just know your mom bought that for you. I mean, that's something you have to live with, too. I don't like when my parents buy me shit, because then I don't have to be like, yeah, my mom bought me this. I don't know. It kind of feels better if I buy it.
Right.
That's kind of all we're going to leave it with today. Just play it smarter than your parents did, because back then shit was worth it to pay money for stuff, and nowadays we see through the bullshit. We have the internet. It allows us to see what kind of correct paths you can take to actually be financially stable in your fucking 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, that type of deal, because we are going to, like, as life goes on, we do live that time period. So it's not like we're going to die at 50. Not a lot of us do. So you have to make financial investments in which would allow you to be stable back then. And for our ages, I don't know if they're going to have fucking Social Security for us, because they keep fucking us on everything else. So
yeah, you got to be responsible for yourself.
We got to pay for the baby boomers. So after they're done, we're going to be like,
hey, we're not going to start a generation war here.
Like, no. I'm just saying, there's a lot more kids. There's a lot less kids, and we're paying for them. We're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But just kind of don't expect the government to uphold their end of the deal, because we've seen time and time and again, they have been like, no, we don't have that, or we didn't max that 401k. Just be able to know that you have to create your own financial freedom at the end there of your life and during the whole thing. It makes everything a lot easier when you have cushions to fall back on, when you have money to go do things. But that all comes with good budgeting habits and just minimalistic ideas in that brain, which doesn't say that going out and having fun is bad, but it's saying like you have to leverage what's going on. Now, if you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck, but don't
bitch about it.
Don't bitch about it when you're 45 and you don't give a fuck still. I mean,
yeah, no, and to add on what Charles says, you know, like, even though debt is a part of life, you know, like what mortgage and taxes are what things that you're always going to
happen.
Yeah, right. But, you know, coming from a family, you know, immigrant family, stuff like that, the concept of credit was not really understood.
Yeah.
You know, and growing up, my parents didn't teach me financial education. I'm pretty sure that is the same for a lot of us in our generation. So to add on to what you're saying, which was really well said, I think that even though it's not our fault that we weren't educated in the beginning, but it is your responsibility to learn now. Because like you said, there's no excuse for us not to learn. There's books, there's internet, and this is something that is going to be an integral part of our lives. It's something that money is, again, it's not bad or good, but it's going to be in our lives. It's an important part of our lives, and you need to know about it and how it works. I'm not saying you need to know at least, you know, how to leverage like more like your investments or your debt and all that stuff, but at least just know how to save and learn good habits, budgeting habits. So that's what we're going to leave you with. Hope you guys found this information helpful. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please make sure to comment down below.
Peace out. We'll catch you in that next one. That was number 8, y'all.